Today's chat is brought to you by the support of all our Twitch subscribers. Through the patronage you provide the Focus Fire chat team through the Twitch platform, we are able to provide you with the weekly podcast as well as the website and other aspects of Focus Fire chat. If you have any interest in becoming a subscriber of the FFC and gaining access to some exclusive features over in the Discord server, please be sure to visit our Twitch account and click on the subscribe button. If you're an Amazon Prime member, remember that you do have a free subscription to Twitch every month that can be used for this. And for those of you who are already subscribers, thank you again for your generosity. You may have heard the whispers of guardians gathering in the shadows, exploring the mysteries of this world and the worlds which surround us. We are all in search of truth. Sometimes we need to focus that search, focus that fire. And so we come together. Join us. Join the discussion. Welcome to Focused Fire Chat. Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on August 23rd, 2019, over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. As always, I want to give a big shout out to our live chat here with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This week's episodes are going to be focused around exploring the topic of the upcoming expansion, Shadowkeep. This particular episode will serve as what we have lovingly started calling the introductory sessions of the week's exploration. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of all of those we have on the show for... God, man, you know what? I'm just going to start that entire sentence over and hope that English comes eventually. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who all we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
And this is the pretty one, Green-Eyed Music Lover.
No, that's not changing it.
I did change it.
And last but definitely not least, in the hot seat of guest co-host, we have our good friend 5yxofBlades. Blades, which one do you prefer?
Honestly, it doesn't matter either way. Whatever will end up being off the tongue faster. Usually it ends up being Blades. Well, how are you doing tonight? You know, it's been a good day. It's been good.
Well, and that's always a great answer. So I have the usual question next for you is, where can we find you out in the internets?
Twitter, I am at 5yxofBlades. You can kind of see it right there on the screen if you're watching the live show. And if you're not watching the live show, you really should be. Also on YouTube at Broken Notes Entertainment. That's my current kind of channel. Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much it so far.
Nice.
Not a big presence. I'm just a guy being a dude.
No worries. And for those listening, don't worry about trying to memorize all of it. I'm going to be sure to get the links posted over in our show notes on thelorenetwork.com when the deep dive segment or the advanced session goes live this week. So that'll be on Friday.
6 is spelled a little funny. Just gonna say that 6 is spelled in a little bit different way that makes it a bit challenging.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to refer to you as 5yxofBlades, but that's a bit of a mouthful. So Green, I know Green usually has a few crazy questions that she likes to ask guests. So I'm going to hand it over to her for that that conversation.
I mean, I could interrogate. I mean, we kind of did that a little bit in the top 3 episode. Wait until Wednesday to hear that one. But what is your favorite Destiny lore story? Blades.
What is your favorite lore story?
What is your favorite story?
It's like ask me to pick my favorite child. I don't have any because I love them all, and I don't have children.
And I don't have children.
Well, there you go. Do you have animals?
I have a dog.
There you go. That counts.
Lore. There's so much really, really good lore, and this answer would change probably hourly.
Yeah.
I think right now I would have to say any of the menagerie gear, the story of the Conocron that kind of sifts in between all of them with the Shadow of Shadows. It's a very, very dark story, especially when you start reading the last few pieces of them. It gets really dark.
Yeah, it's one that gives a lot of us kind of it's a frustrating book too. I will say that, like, trying to piece it apart and figure out what is serious and what is not serious at this point, as far as Callus goes, and knowing what the intention of what Callus is doing, definitely will have to say that is one of the books that is just like, oh God, it's the one that's making me uncomfortable more than any of the others at the moment.
Absolutely uncomfortable.
Yes. All right. So if that's your favorite lore at the moment, what got you into the lore? Like, what was the story that drug you in, or who was the one that drug you into the lore?
Answer is going to be real plain. I'm sure this would end up being a lot of people. It was one part being bored at work and having the Destiny app available to me. So on my lunch breaks, I would literally read the Grimoire cards. I would go home and read the Grimoire cards.
You know, that's actually less common of an answer than you think. Most people are like Bife or Mylan.
Yeah, that's the other one.
But I have mad respect for you actually digging in and kind of diving into the cards on your own.
I mean, it's all there and available, or it was. Now you have to use something like Ishtar, which is just as fine. But it was nice having it like there and seeing all the cards that I had earned. It also gave me a good way to see what I still need to do.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so those are the two easy questions. I guess there's one more easy question, and then there's one question that's going to be a little bit more challenging. So last easy question: what class do you play?
Hunters for life.
Yes.
Easy.
3 hunters. I like it. Little harder question: what are you a PvP player? Are you a PvE player? And if so, are you a dirty shotgunner, a fusion rifle punk, or a sniper who's a swiper because they just can't actually land their shots anymore?
Definitely more of the PvE than the PvP. I have the reaction times of a slightly inebriated cat, and that's being generous.
An inebriated cat. I like it. I mean, I don't know what that looks like as far as like a cat being inebriated, because I've never seen a cat inebriated. Is there like a YouTube video that I can like witness this, or?
God, I hope not.
I mean, that's a scary thought a little bit, to be honest. This is, wow, Blue. How did you, wow. We just started talking about this. And
that was instantaneous.
That was, like, did you have that synced to your phone?
No.
So this good old conversation, like learning about blades, and Blue pops into chat with this. It's a meme. It's just a black background with white text that says "This is a drunk cat," and I'm super utterly confused how he did it so quickly. Like,
He has 10-second future vision. Nailed
it.
I
guess maybe. I'm the social media person, but he's apparently the meme guy, because I don't know how he found that quick. I'm a little flabbergasted. Like,
Blue talked to Osiris. He's seen the future.
Yes.
Yep, nope, confirmed. Blue is the next Osiris incarnate.
Except for his prophecies are all cat memes. Oh my gosh! All right,
his prophecies are going to end up being like 2004 cheeseburger cat memes.
Yes,
no, it's just he just goes up and pushes all the stuff off the desk.
Icon has cheeseburgers.
Icon has good life. Yes.
Yes, I love those. Such a happy time. All right, Blue. Take it back. I've got nothing. You broke me. God.
Yes. Oh man. Okay, so I know everyone is looking forward to diving into the discussion, so we're gonna run through the standard housekeeping notes, just get those out of the way, and then we'll get right into it. Last week, we discussed the lore book, Nothing Ends. If you're enjoying the show, please be sure to rate and, if you don't mind, leave us a review on iTunes or comment on the episodes on Podbean, or whichever podcasting app you use to enjoy podcasts. Reviews are extremely helpful, as they not only let us know what we can do better for you, but also help to continue to expand the FFC family, allowing more and more perspectives to be heard. To those of you who have already taken the time to leave us a review, thank you. As many of you are aware, Focus Fire Chat is a community in which we offer the chance to dive into lore from within various titles and mediums, with a special focus on the Destiny universe. Every Friday at about 10 p.m. Central, the podcast team gets together to stream a summary of the chosen topic for that week. The hope for this is to encourage dives into aspects of game lore within both our Discord server and within the other communities we share the digital world with. If you're a fan of lore in all its various forms, be sure to also check out thelorenetwork.com, a central hub for content that covers a wide variety of different titles and mediums. Our full show notes for each week's topic will be posted there, so for the additional information or guest details, be sure to check out the site. Next week's topic is going to be a discussion on the dangers of Gambit. That being said, however, we still want to hear your thoughts about this week's topic. Be sure to weigh in over on Discord, and don't be shy in tagging any of the team in the conversation. Can't wait to read what your thoughts are. So, Green, Gamescom. Gamescom happened.
Yeah. So,
and there's a lot.
There is. And the introduction episode, we're going to mainly focus on the Gamescom information and the interviews that happened and the trailer drops, I think, as far as like how our episodes are going to line out this week. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about lore tied into some of them, but I think we're going to wait until the advanced episode to really go in deep with some of the lore connections a bit closer. You say that's fair?
Yep.
Okay. So Gamescom happened. It was in Germany, and Bungie went. And Bungie dropped a bunch of information on us while we were there. Some of which was
Bungie went to the Xbox show.
The Xbox? Yes, they did.
Which is just, I called that out because that's kind of the first time that's happened.
Yeah, considering that they were Sony based for so long and partnered with, I guess not partnered is the bad word for it. What do you call it?
Well, they were
exclusive.
They were exclusive. Well, I mean, Activision had an exclusive deal with Sony, which is why you had all the console exclusives with the PlayStation, which is not the case any longer, which is a win for everybody, to be fair.
Right. So at this Gamescom, there was a few different interviews. There was an interview specifically with Deej, and I'm blanking on the other guy's name.
The fire team.
It was the one with Leia. It was the Leia interview.
Ben. I think that one was with Ben. Womack.
Yes. So
Ben Womack is the design lead.
Yeah, that was that interview, and in that one they kind of previewed the artifact information that's going to be coming out and the mechanics a little bit that go along with that. They also showed off some of the finishing moves and how those worked with the artifacts in general. So I'm going to go through kind of the basic things news-wise that happened with that, and then we'll talk about kind of the things that items-wise that we saw and the enemies that we saw and kind of the lore implications of those guys, as well as maybe talk a tiny bit about the theories about the power level that's going to be coming up. So in the artifacts, you're able to level up different things in it, and it is kind of like a skill tree that works all the way across. And in that, you're unlocking different abilities. Some of the abilities were mods that are really, really expensive. Like there's a mod that will allow you to drop a heavy brick for your entire team, like essentially like a heavy synth for your entire team. But in order to do that, you have to sacrifice half your super. There's definitely give and takes with all the different mods. Some of them were less expensive and less intense than that, but some of them were definitely things to help your team or things to help yourself, which was kind of cool. The finishing moves, things that we learned about that, you cannot use finishing moves on big bosses, which makes sense, although that would be kind of super cool to be able to slam and punch out a ogre or anything like that. But the finishing moves are the ones that tend to activate these different perks. They can be just for show if you don't want to do any of the mods or level up the artifacts at all. And if you wanted to, you can have them affect gameplay. Like I was saying, you can do the different mods and whatnot and the skill tree to advance that a little bit. As far as the items that we saw, the artifact they showed off mainly was the Eye of the Gate Lord, which for those of us who were just reminiscing on D1, that is a definite throwback. Do you think it's our Eye of the Gate Lord?
No, because I think if I remember that correctly, that was destroyed with the opening of the Black Garden. But it does tie into the Season of the Undying, because that is arguably one of the ways that we get into the Black Garden.
Yes. And then there was the Assassin's Call, Cow.
It's so
which
pretty.
It is pretty.
So
It would be really blinding to wear. Just gonna say that. Like if you actually wore that thing, that would be terrible.
But it's so pretty.
It's...
Gotta have the sparkly.
Do you remember what the perk was on it? I don't remember seeing the perk, but
I actually don't know on the Assassins.
Assassin's Cowl. I have the magical power of Bing.
yes.
No, I don't want Assassin's Creed.
I know the flavor text on it is "Now you see me, now you don't." So it may be
I'm assuming
the invisibility one that allows you invisibility in any
Oh.
class. Like
You know what would be really cool is if it was the equivalent of "Don't Touch Me's."
I don't know if that is what it is or not. I would have to like dive into that a little bit closer.
I mean, I'm just
But
saying that would be an interesting twist on that one.
speaking of other items and whatnot, we saw coming back. Monte Carlo's coming back. Did you guys see that?
Black Flag in chat says melee kills on guardians and finishers on PvE enemies grant invisibility and health regen.
Yes, I was right. So it's
So-
Worm Husk plus
One-eyed
something
mask.
else. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, One-Eyed Mask does if you kill somebody, you get the. Is it just PvE enemies or does it not? Yeah, it doesn't have the PvP enemy on there.
I'm not sure.
Interesting.
I don't eat crayons.
Anybody that damages gets the.
Okay, interesting. Enemies that we saw at Gamescom were Nightmare Thrall. We saw Gaul. We saw Skolas. We saw Fogoth. That one I thought was interesting.
Did they actually give him a name back?
They did not give him a name. He was not. None of these
Aw.
were named. Like Gaul wasn't named. Skolas wasn't named. Fogoth wasn't named. But the character models are pretty identical to the D1's ones. Like they're just cleaned up a little bit. It looks like. But Fogoth had the chains and kind of the leather vest type thing that was like all torn to pieces going on. Let's see here. Beyond that, power level cap is at 960 with your normal items. Theoretically, because of the artifact, you can go to an infinite power cap. Now, that being said, this was part of the interview that happened with, I want to say it was Luke Smith. No, it wasn't Luke Smith. It was the blonde guy. I can't ever.
Scott.
Seth? No.
Scott.
Thank you, Scott. This was the interview with Scott that happened later. And in this one, they were talking about how the artifact can level you up pretty infinitely. But that being said, the leveling will stop at the end of Season of the Undying. So it is a limited time to be able to level up that crazily. I don't know if they're planning on keeping that as a on your character.
Well, if it's based off the artifact, that's not going to stay on your character because that's a seasonal artifact.
Okay, so then it would disappear at the end of the season. The other thing, as far as the infinite leveling, they also mentioned that as you're leveling up, just like you do in a video game in general, you're going to hit essentially a slowdown because the enemies aren't necessarily going to continue to level with you. So you're going to be getting the same amount of XP, but you're going to have a higher level threshold to meet for each level.
Yeah, the EL is not going to grow with you. Yeah, that makes sense.
Correct. So that you can go as infinite as you would like, but you have to realize that it is not going to be coming as quickly the higher up you get. So there's going to be kind of a taper off point, and they were essentially challenging the community to see how far they can push the artifact and see how high of a level they can get. They mentioned, somebody brought up the concept of Iron Banner or other leveled activities, and they're going to keep everything turned on for that. So if you are leveled and you earned that, you're going to be able to make a big difference in Gambit and in Iron Banner and be that person, essentially, that's just going to wreck everybody. I say that nicely.
I like that filtering right there.
Oh, gosh. I mean, after doing Heavy as Death, I know what it feels like to be the person who's under-leveled. So I don't want to be that person that's under-leveled. Just saying.
So Green's going to be level She's going to be over 9,000.
Well, if we can get to that point. I'm curious because of the level ending at 960, if we can get to level 999, not specifically for the lore reason.
Listen, truth to power.
It might. I'd like to try to finish that. I still haven't finished Shattered Throne, solo at least. I finished it with teammates, but I've never soloed it. Can't get past the stupid ogre.
I mean, you should just give it a good try. You should just give it a good try.
Excuse me, I gave it 14 hours. 14 hours. The first 3 hours were spent on the first section, and then I flew into the freaking ogre, but I spent probably 12 hours on the stupid ogre.
Oh yeah.
Not all at once. I broke it up. Anyway.
Yeah, he's a beast.
So chaotic in that it's overwhelming on your own, like even with a group of a tactic.
Oh sure. I got to the point where I could clear the entire room except for the ogre, and I would like slam the buff into the location that you needed to. I just couldn't do enough damage to the ogre by myself, and it was frustrating. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I'm level 999 how easy it is to take him out. That's my hope.
A point I'd like to potentially make on the infinite leveling front. Now, it says that the level cap or the power cap is going to be 960.
Mm-hmm.
They never said that it wasn't going to go up when hard mode for whatever raid.
That's true.
So I feel like it'll be 960 base for normal, and then it might go up to 1K for the for whatever potential hard mode might be coming out. That would make sense, like just numerically and rounding wise.
That would be interesting, because at that point, everybody in the lore community will be losing their minds because of the quote-unquote breaking of the curse level. The threshold would have been met at that point, right? As if we're going to believe truth to power as an actual
if you want to also
thing.
technically address it, it would be a nice way of them nodding to it being actually broken.
It would be nice if something actually changed in the Dreaming City at that point. Just saying.
That's how we'll get the 15th wish.
Oh, God.
The 7th chest will be unlocked.
No! All the memes. We just did that episode.
Let's go back.
Let's go back to it.
Okay. So other things that happened at Gamescom, I'm just going to sidetrack back into what we're talking about.
I'm just going to ignore everything you just said and go back to topic.
Yes. So there was a question brought up about how Bungie feels about being without Activision at this point, and I thought it was I
like this one.
This was a really insightful thing, and it's Bungie has always been a huge part of obviously the creation of Destiny and been in charge of a lot of the creation aspects of it. The thing that was mentioned is now they're seeing the publisher side of things. So there's a different, not necessarily different hats that they have to put on, but they have to think differently. And it was and it's an appreciation. You can definitely see that they're appreciating the skills and the structure that it takes to be on that publisher side of things rather than just the creation side of things. And I believe wasn't there an article you said about their Activision thing?
Yeah, Deej sat down with I believe it was PC Gamer. Hang on, I'll pull it up just a second. Yeah, it was PC Gamer did an article that says Bungie. So it's basically Deej sitting down and kind of clearing the air on the whole thing, because a lot of people have unfair antagonism towards Activision in this sense. There's things that you can be legitimately upset with Activision about stuff. I get that. This one is kind of not one of those. Deej came out and was basically saying, here, let me see, right here, this quote from him. So Deej says, "I think we need to dispel the notion Activision was some prohibitive overlord that wasn't letting us do awesome things. We launched this franchise with Activision. Naturally, and over the course of time, we both decided we had different goals for what we wanted it to be, so we both went our separate ways. It was amicable, and here we are making this game on our own, doing what we think needs to be done to make it awesome." And then the conversation kind of moved to the whole thing of cross-save, free-to-play version, how Bungie's willingness to evolve. And, and Deej did kind of make a comment they're still learning just the same way as when they moved to Activision. there was some pain points too with the move to Activision, because they brought Bungie.net, which was really a Halo centered thing for the most part, and so it was obviously very centered around Xbox. Well, they brought that into the PlayStation, what he refers to as the PlayStation Nation, and that influx of new faces also brought new questions that they had never thought about, and so it's the whole thing is that they're hoping to build the Destiny community up. He said, we'll be talking to a core Destiny fan about what's new, but for the person on the fence, we had all these elaborate business considerations that they had to jump through in order to get caught up with someone already playing. Now we're opening the door and saying, come on in, take a look around. If you like this place and want to make it your hobby, there is a community here who will take you on new adventures. So it's a very short article, but he basically he's really just clearing the air and clarifying that, the split between Activision and Bungie was not a criminus. It was actually they had a changing of priorities, and it was an amicable split that both sides are
apart.
Well, yeah, and it was the mature thing, it was a mature decision on both sides. There's no hard feelings. If you watch the interactions with the devs of Bungie and Activision on Twitter, you get that sense as well. A lot of them will banter back and forth still. I mean, so it's just business at that stage. It's just business. They had a different end goal that they were going for, and Bungie disagreed, and instead of becoming something toxic, they split while they were both amicable towards it.
Yep. All right. So we got through the news. We got through most of the interviews, at least of the stuff that I thought that was like really things to latch onto as far as updates and changes and things that will kind of affect the lore a little bit, but mostly affect the gameplay and things going on forward. Trailer time. I'm going to have both you, Blue, and Six of Flags. I did it again. Six of Blades. I don't know why. He's Six Flags in my brain for some reason.
You're not going to escape this now. You're just going to be, hey, Six Flags, how's it going? How's Texas?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Gosh darn it. There's the Six Flags in Denver, too.
I know, which makes no sense. But anyways.
Yeah, whatever. But I'm going to have you two guys dive into the two trailers. I do have the transcript in the show notes for you guys, as well as some of my semi-notes on it, but I'd like for you two to dive into it.
Are we doing the I want to do the DuckTales theme. Have you guys seen those? The rash of remixes of the original trailers?
The ones that Grindhead Jim is doing?
Well, so Grindhead, he's got 23, I think, and he's releasing them on a slow drip. But then, there's the DuckTales one. They redid it as with the DuckTales theme, which is it's just my personal favorite. And then there was another one. I can't remember the other one, but there's it's Bad Moon Rising. Creedence Clearwater.
Gotcha.
Which was a really good one too. There were some good ones, but yeah. So this is the trailer for Shadowkeep. So there's two trailers, right? There's the trailer for Shadowkeep, and then there's the Season of Undying trailer. And Six, do you want to do the trailer for Shadowkeep? You want to talk about that one real quick?
Yeah, let's get in on that one. It's been a hot minute since I've seen it, because I've worked since I watched it initially. I actually typically, once I hear something Bungie, I go and take my break, and then I watch it, and then I have to work the rest of the shift keeping up with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where you would want to start necessarily. There's so much to go through. That's a big thing.
Yeah. I think so again, kind of what we've been talking about, previously with the whole thing with Shadowkeep, it's very psychologically themed. Again, we have from Eris, the line is, something wicked has awakened, nightmares plague our galaxy. Your past confronts you, Guardian, put an end to it. Sorry, now I have DuckTales theme song stuck in my head. Woohoo! I just tangented myself off this. Then we see the memories of Skolas, which that was PTSD. Omnigul, Crota, the Omnigul Bad Destiny joke was hilarious, by the way. Good job, Cole. Crota, Gaul, Fogoth, or He Who Shall Not Be Named, apparently. There is a Gate Lord looking character, and then I didn't see the giant shrieker. Was that at the end?
It was behind everything. So there was like a boss in front of it, and then it was hidden, kind of tucked behind, and it looked like the one from Savathun's song.
Which would make sense. Most of these are actually, the majority of them are strikes. There's a few mission and there is one
Crota's
raid.
raid.
Yeah, I was about to say there's one raid. Fair enough.
Skolas was technically Prison of Elders.
Yeah, Skolas was its own special hell.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, you want to talk about PTSD? Go talk to.
Anybody who played House of Wolves.
Well, yeah, that and our clan was responsible for Sherpaing people through. So, like, we have Damo, who's one of our moderators in Focus Fire. He basically, the joke is that Skolas owes him rent because he was in there. Like, I mean, that guy, Damo must have put days of time spent in Prison of Elders. And the worst thing about Prison of Elders was obviously there was no save points. So you had to run the full thing in one go. And I mean, you're talking, like if you have a bad run, that's 8 hours. Like it was like solar burns. Yeah, you're going to be there for a while. It was just that was painful.
Until everybody had a Gallahorn and they were
until yeah. And then it was horrifying watching how fast he got melted. Which I didn't feel bad for at all. So yeah, I mean, again, I think, the focus is again on the psychological nightmares. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities, right? There's the idea that are these ascendant creatures that are projections of something that is, embedded in us? Is this a perversion of some form of the darkness? Because I think there's also mention of you think you've seen the darkness and you have no idea or something like that. Was that in that trailer?
It was not in that trailer.
It was in a different one.
Something prior.
Okay.
Yeah,
because there was a line though, right? Am I remembering that right?
It was like one of the teasers for one of the very first teasers for the Shadowkeep, where Eris talks about that.
Oh, that's a good idea for dancing. Dancing saying, I wonder if similar to Taken King and Rise of Iron, some of the D2 strikes will get revamped with nightmares.
Which would be interesting.
I can see that because they did that with the Taken, right?
Right. The thing is, though, is we have a bunch of characters from D1. I mean, the only D2 thing that we have on there, I guess there's two on there. There's Gaul and the Shrieker from Savathun's song, if that is indeed that Shrieker. So if they were to revamp it, and this is a conversation I had with somebody else earlier today, if they were to revamp it and make it into strikes per se, you would have a lot of locations brought in because Skolas was in a location. Tannix was another one that was brought up as possibly coming back, and I'm seeing a ton of Bungie devs bring up Tannix as I don't know if it's a meme right now or if this is something that's coming.
It's
Okay.
He has no house.
He has no house, apparently. But I mean, I guess the other thing too, though, it wouldn't be a lot of new destinations because all the destinations that they have we're either getting with the moon or we already have.
Omnigul was on Earth. It was in the Cosmodrome.
Well, but I mean,
which we technically have.
We don't have any two.
Well, we kind of do because we had the Thunderlord. We returned to the Cosmos. We didn't return to, what was that? Was that Skywatch? No, it wasn't Skywatch.
It was a different location.
It was a different location. Yeah, Omnigul. Well, in Omnigul 2, didn't we encounter Omnigul on the moon one time? Am I not remembering that correctly? I don't know.
I think so. I think she's always been on Earth.
Okay. And that might be because she was always associated with Rasputin. Like she was always trying to break into Rasputin's bunker.
Yes.
Her and everybody else.
Everyone else. But like, so Skolas, we've already been in the Prison of Elders. That is a strike today. Crota, we're going back to the moon. Hellmouth is, It's a part. I
It's
think
the new
I
location
think it's the
coming
new
in.
location. Gaul. Okay, yeah, you mentioned that. Sorry, Fogoth Summoning Pits is also in the Hellmouth. Gate Lord would be the Black Garden, which is coming back.
If that's Gate Lord or not Atheon. The reason I mentioned Gate Lord because it's a giant minotaur. So we've seen a couple different giant minotaurs.
I mean, so I guess
Atheon was one.
I'll have to go back and watch it again because Atheon has a very prominent profile.
Head. Yeah.
Yeah,
his
he's very, very unique in his in his shape. Chad is saying the quote that I was thinking of is in this trailer. It's "You think you know the darkness, you have no idea," or "not yet," or something.
Black Flag mentioned that there was Atheon and a Gate Lord.
Okay, which, I mean, the Gate Lord makes sense. If the seasonal artifact is going to be a Gate Lord's eye, I can see that being our acquisition of the artifact is from that Gate Lord.
That makes me have so many different questions about...
Oh, Zydron is one of the nightmares. Okay, because Zydron's who we got the eye from.
Mm-hmm. That was the strike that everybody farmed to death, or the mission.
Oh yeah, and you get an icebreaker and just go sit on the back wall. Yep, you got it. It's good. Because that was also where some of the wanted during House of Wolves hung out.
So here's my question for both of you. Is there an enemy? I mean, we've listed a bunch of enemies we've seen. Is there an enemy that hasn't been listed that you want to see come back? Blades?
I'm very partial to anything from Rise of Iron. I'd really like to see the Archpriest from Rathlin come back.
Oh, yeah, the Archon, or was it the Archon Priest?
Or no, the Archpriest, the first two encounters that you do, the one with the bomb throwing.
Okay, gotcha.
Not Axis, the first one. I can't remember. Vasek. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Killsia.
Okay, that would be a good one. Blue, what about you? Is there a boss you want to see come back?
They have it, Fogoth. I just wish they would give him a name.
Yeah, for real.
Why
did they not?
It's one of my sore points. Like, they had Fogoth of the Summoning Pits, and then there was like this, like, I don't even remember what update it was, but it was like a really quiet update. Like, no one ever made any comment about it, and all of a sudden it was just Ogre, or it was just an abomination or something. Like, and I'm like, what did he do to you? Like, that was... Fogoth was I'm like,
that update was the April update for
Dancing. They kind of forgot about his name.
Get out, Dancing.
You know who I want to see come back, but it would cause so many lore issues and people would riot? Orcs.
I'd throw my hat in for Orcs. I would love to.
I mean,
love to have that experience again.
Depending on what the nightmares are.
I'll be honest. If I have to go through that effing raid one more time, I'm just gonna
Regicide. We just go through Regicide.
Oh, Regicide wasn't bad. Regicide wasn't bad. It was the glitch. It was the glitch fest that was Taken King.
Doom Zombies brought up one that I think that everybody tends to forget.
Hank the Shank.
Oh gosh, my gosh, yes.
That was Shank 2.0 or something.
Didn't they made a giant shank?
Oh yeah, no, because there was It was Saber 2, because that was the Saber line that your ghost was like, I want a bigger shell, and Zavala's like, really? It was one of my favorite lines between the two of them. Well, and then Dino's actually saying exactly what I was going to say with the whole Oryx thing is if the nightmares are just manifestations of our darkness, of our memories, Oryx coming back, I mean, that's the same as the what is it, the Reckoning? You know, the Oryx in the Reckoning it's not it would not be counter to anything within the lore as long as those are psychological projections, which is
that's what I mean by that. Like, if depending on what the nightmares are, or if the nightmares are actually risen versions of these guys, but not with their own will and working for somebody else totally different.
Listen, you leave Zol out of this.
Sort of a taken version. Oh God, I hope Zol doesn't come back. I don't want to fight the giant worm again.
That wasn't Zol.
Punch him to death.
I know it wasn't. I just don't want to do it.
Well, the only reason I'm bringing that up is because it's necromancy.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about something that's being brought back without its, against its will. That's kind of necromancy.
Right, but what we're seeing in this trailer doesn't look anything like we've seen before. The things are red. I guess, okay. Here's what it kind of looks like. They're red. They have spikes. And the reason why I say that is because of the Nightmare Thrall you look specifically are the easiest ones to see this on. Even some of the Nightmare Fogoth and the Nightmare Skull-offs, there are some slight adaptations happening to the character models. They're not exactly the same. That being said, neither are the Taken. They're not exactly like the original versions of themselves. So what are we dealing with? Who are we dealing with?
Well, I think that's the $1 million question, right?
Right.
And yeah, I really hope, chat's talking about the ghosts that are floating.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
you mean the Guardian forms?
Are they Guardian forms?
Did you see the Titan-looking helmet one?
You mean the Titan-looking helmet that's based off the astronaut helmet from the Golden Age?
No. I will find an image and I will bring
get some image. Shoot me. I'm curious because there's a number of possibilities of who those figures are, right? Regardless, all I can think of, and Green, you're gonna hate me, and I am being 100% serious in my statement of this, is all I can think of in those scenes is Pennywise. When he steals the kids, when he steals, when he steals the kids, he puts their souls in stasis above so that he can feed on them. And they're exactly the same type of positioning as the ghost figures.
Okay. So there's the original image. There is a helmet that it actually from D1 reminds me of heavily. And here we go.
Oh, are you talking about the one kind of left of center?
Yeah, because the one to the right and the one in the center look kind of similar to Graviton.
So this is the helmet from D2 that it reminds me of, the Terra Concord helm, where it's just that kind of sleek back helm.
Which one are you looking at?
I put both images in chat. So
no. Which figure are you saying reminds you of that?
The center one. Even the one to the right of center.
Oh, see, the center and the one to the right center make me think of Graviton Forfeit.
Yeah, I can see that too, but they have the pauldrons that are a little bigger, so they remind me of Titans. The one to the far left would remind me of a hunter, but most of them are kind of reminding me of Titans in a lot of ways, just because of this body shape. The one kind of in the background, and chat, I know this is really difficult to describe as far as podcast or anything like that. The image I'm looking at is from the trailer itself. It's the image that you see right before our Guardians as a trio run towards them or go towards them. And it is this freeze frame of it. And there's a Guardian in the background that is a little bit more petite and whatnot. And they're definitely ghostly shapes, and they're very humanoid. They're not Taken, they're not Fallen or any of the enemy races. They look like Guardians.
Yeah, but see, those are vastly different than the other figures that were shown in the trailers, because those actually have substance to them, and they have coloration. The image
in the
that
trailer
you have
were very
they're very
broken.
ephemeral, like they're very, very broken down. Which, I've seen a lot of people kind of point to the Great Disaster,
Mary Embrium.
Mm-hmm. Which, again, I just hope whatever they are, they play a part in this, because I think, first off, I think that would be awesome. And second off, it's such a cool aesthetic. I really want to know, the explanation in game of what's going on with them. Just because
we've asked for Dark Guardians forever.
Well, and technically you could argue that we've had them with Gambit and the Shadows of Yore. You have a title. You have a title on your user right now.
Right.
Now I think you're saying actual dark powers, like actual
mirror images of ourselves.
Right. Like a dark mirror? What?
It's such a trope. It would be easy to do. Well, I say easy to do story wise, but it is a very popular trope.
It is an extremely popular trope.
All right, so that's the official trailer for Shadowkeep. Do you want to dive into the Vex trailer?
You
Blades,
mean
did you get to see
the
that
one
one?
that's the one that's a couple years old?
The one that's a couple of years old.
Have you? Oh, Green. Did you not know that?
No.
Okay, so the Season of Undying trailer, this thing was leaked back in do you remember? It was like 2015.
I remember the leak.
It was. I mean, it's been a while. Like it was back.
Is it really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's there's differences. But it's very very significantly similar.
Beat for beat, it's either a very very good adaptation or they ripped a lot of it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's not. I mean, it was a leak, so I'm not saying anything about that, but I mean, it's just it was kind of funny when everyone started freaking out because I was like, oh hey, a new trailer, and because I didn't even realize it was a season trailer. I thought it was another Shadowkeep, and I just pulled it up and I'm like, this isn't a new trailer. Like this thing's been who's rickrolling me, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah, they showed that one at Gamescom too, if I remember right.
Yeah, no, this was the I think this was the Gamescom one. Or one of the big Gamescom ones. Yeah, it was.
Right.
But yeah, I remember it like pulls up and it's like, I mean, yeah, 6 is right. It's like, it's very, very similar to the one I remember. But I mean, that being said, it does also open up a lot of questions about the Vex.
Right. Do you want to describe it? Would one of you like to describe it?
It's,
I wrote a little blurb if you want, like.
Yeah. So like it starts off and it's very matrixy. Is I guess the best word that I would use to describe like the whole feeling of it. So you basically have like this like I don't know if you've ever seen Donnie Darko, but it's like the Donnie Darko where he's like seeing the future, where it's like the little orb coming out of him. That's what it is like Radioloria. And yeah, Dino, it's an old data mine trailer, but never let it be said that Bungie empties their trash can. That's exactly what I'm thinking. So the bodies, the metal frames, the living metal frames of the Vex are kind of suspended in like this water-like substance. You don't know really what's going on. There was a pyramid-like shape. It looks somewhat like, do you think it looks like Mercury? Is that what you're saying?
Some people are saying
like the Infinite Forest type thing.
Like it's got the same motive as the Infinite Forest, just because it's the pyramids. But you could also say it's similar. It's more similar to Pyramidion as far as the architecture within it. Right. But it's suspended in like a cerebral fluid or like a watery area.
Okay, so yeah, and chat's agreeing with you. It's like the Pyramidion. So like, and the entire trailer, or not the entire, but the majority of the trailer, you're kind of following this Radioloria fluid as it flows and streams, and then it flows into these frames, which turns out to be the body of a Vex. I think there's like a goblin, and then it like it goes up this strand, and it's just really kind of, it's both disturbing and really cool at the same time. Basically it's filling up the juice box in the frame, and then at the end it like looks up and the eye activates and turns into that deep red that everyone will recognize as part of the Vex. And that is then when they start walking out of the pool. And I think that's when you also kind of realize that they're in the Black Garden. And that's where the transcript comes in. Oh, no, go for it. I'm going completely off memory, so I'm
right. You're fine. As far as like the Black Garden aspect, the problem I have with this trailer is that it very much so looks like Pyramidion, which granted Pyramidion, like what it does and whatnot, is still a little bit up in the air as far as like all its capabilities, but the Black Garden itself, I had a very long debate with Wicked this afternoon in which I wanted to punch him in the face a little bit, because we have a bet going on whether or not the lake that is in this trailer is at the base of the strike when we do the Cabal strike where we fight the Vex Minotaur at the end, or if it's in the Black Garden.
No, see, I'm giggling because there is a particular strike which one of the navigators, the NPCs, is adamant that there is a lake in the center.
And That's one of them too.
I'm saying that in chat. I'm like, it's not a metaphor after all.
Yeah,
If Asher
actually being right.
if this is the lake, and if Asher does not get the chance to say "I told you so," I'm gonna be a little upset.
Does that mean that Asher went into the Black Garden at that point? Then,
Well, but I mean,
What people are saying is that they're
it
not
could be
in the Black
connected.
Garden.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
or
So-
they could be. It could be connected because we don't know. Portal wise, you never know.
I just not at the
That's
lakes
Asher's
in the Black.
lake.
Isn't the Black Garden? Yeah, this is This was one of the debates I was having. With
Hole?
somebody.
There's no hole.
Where are the Vex being created? If the quote unquote Asher's Lake is a location where Vex are created, Genesis mind.
Hashtag Asher's Lake.
Oh my gosh, Blades! You're not helping my. I have a bet going on with him that I will owe him dinner at Guardian Con next year if it turns out to be not in the Black Garden but in the Pyramidion.
Definitely not in the Black Garden. Definitely, if anything, it's definitely the Pyramid.
I'm saying it's in the Black Garden because the Black Garden is the creation's point of the Vex according to so much of the D1 lore. Just saying. Dawson's Creek. Oh my god. Chat, you're killing me.
What was the song? What was that?
I don't know. I didn't
Annoying
watch
song.
that stupid TV show.
Oh, I don't want to wait.
Oh
That's what it was. That's what it was. Yes.
Oh my gosh. I don't want to wait for the lives to be
For my arm to be converted.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so
Puddle.
Well, I mean, I guess my other thing is too, if it's in the Pyramidion, it could also be in the Black Garden.
yes, it
can be kind of transcendental.
Which I'm fine with that. Like I said, the reason why I'm so adamant it's about the Black Garden is because of the transcript, because Akura mentions the Black Garden.
When a mommy Vex and
Just
a daddy
saying.
Vex, when a mommy Vex and a daddy Vex like each other very much, they go
is
to
not the
hashtag
transcript.
Asher Lake.
That is not the transcript.
So the transcript is from Ikora. we say the Black Garden is the birthplace of the Vex, but it was not the beginning, it was the reason. The life in the garden called out a question, the Vex are the answer. They will do anything to protect the garden. In these things, there is symmetry. The gateways have opened. The Vex are coming.
Mm-hmm.
You know nothing, Ikora Ray.
I mean, she knows a lot. She actually talks about this very thing back in D1. Just saying. I may have fallen down the rabbit hole for about 4 hours this afternoon.
No, that was totally a playoff. You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Yes.
But the other thing too, to be clear, because it is coming from Ikora Ray, I mean, to kind of put in a slight pump of the brakes, it is an in-game or an in-character perception. So once again, just I mean, I'm just saying that for listeners too. It's like, just keep in mind this is a analysis from an in-character point of view. So this is not a narrative statement. This is Ikora's understanding of what is going on. And what I'm saying there is that could be wrong. Now, is it? I don't know, but I'm just saying don't get upset if something changes.
It's just one of those things. Like, there's so much information about the creation of the Vex coming from the Black Garden. We don't have creation of Vex from any other location thus far. So I'm sticking to my guns of this is the Black Garden. There's mentions of swampy areas in the Black Gardens, thanks to Uldren and Joyoung. I'm gonna hold to the lore that I know. I'm not going to fall into the Asher mind bend of what happened with the Radioloria pit at the bottom of the hole and the Flavin and the.
It's not a metaphor.
Radioloria has been known to mess with people's minds.
No.
Just saying.
Truth to power? What?
Just saying. I mean, all the hallucinations that various guardians have gone through because of the Radioloria. Just saying. Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying. Backing up.
Not backing up.
Set the bike down gently and walk away, not dropping it.
Okay, so I don't know if we have too much to like dive into as far as like the basics of that one. We've described it, obviously. We've kind of gone into a little bit of the theories on it. I think we should save the rest for the advanced lore, because the majority of my notes for the advanced lore, there's a touch on Eris, there's a touch on just the concepts of what Eris went through, and then everything else is Black Garden related, because Black Garden, and it's been a while since we talked about it.
Sounds good to me. You want to do shoutouts?
Let's do it.
6. What shoutouts do you have?
I didn't know I was supposed to come prepared with shoutouts.
Cool. What
It
shoutouts
is-
do you have?
Wow, way to throw me to the wolves. Somebody else go first, and then I'll come back
All
to
right.
me. Like the kid in class.
All right, so shout outs to my person that is almost always willing, that isn't Blue, because Blue is always willing, almost always willing to put up with my crazy and bounce ideas off of, and is willing to go into some stupid theorizing to the point where I'm just kind of yelling at him and throwing out bets. Shout out to my buddy Wicked, because he decided to get on mic with me today, because I was like, I need to talk through this. I've fallen down the rabbit hole. Blue was still at work at this point, so it's just like, shout out to him.
I think that's when you messaged me and I was like, I'm in a meeting. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I was at hour 4 of diving into old lore and new lore, and realizing how much lore they've touched on the Black Garden so far since D2, which is a little surprising. I've forgotten about a lot of it, so shout out to him for being willing to put up with my crazy and put up with my ramble for a little while, and then take over on his own ramble and make me angry in his own way, because I'm just like, no, the theorite, no. And he's got good theories, don't get me wrong, but he definitely pushes my boundaries as far as
He's got good theories, but they're wrong.
He's got good. Okay, no. He will never let me live it down. The fact that his theory about Shin was right. And I would be remiss to say that he was right about Shin, and Shin's play is one of the Dredgens and one of the Veil and Shadow.
Black flag. Blue is right sometimes.
Blue.
I'll take it.
There you go. But yes, shout out to him. All right, Blades, you kind of ready?
Yeah, I realize now that there's probably like 2 people I need to shout out directly. Shout out to my fiance, who's currently coloring stuff behind me for letting me
smart
hijack
move.
the computer.
Yes.
Smart move. Nothing. Just keep going.
Go back. Nailed it. She'll never know that I deleted her whole account.
You did
Oh
what?
gosh.
Run!
Let's go.
I'm fat. I can't run.
Is she a Titan? She sounds like a Titan.
So straight up, her first character, when we sat down and made her first character for Destiny, it was a Titan.
Yes.
So way to nail that one.
What did they guess?
Yeah, they straight up just guessed you were a Titan.
Big fist diplomacy.
Yep. I gotcha. My wife's a Titan too. I totally understand.
She understands her wife. So she let me use the computer instead of kicking me off at 11:30 when she got home from work.
After a long, stressful day.
You go back to
Yes.
go back to eating the crayons, Titan.
And drawing, by the way.
Totally didn't even hear the Titan comment. I'm so happy. Nope, she did.
Smack.
I'm going to be real lame with the second one. I'd really like to give you guys a shout out for letting me come bombard your show with minor giggles and some random insights here and there.
No, yeah.
Definitely. It's been fun having you on. I definitely one of the more amusing top 3s we've had, as far as like throw it back to memories and just getting into some of the nitty-gritty of memes.
That's where I thrive, in the mildly structured.
Yes. Awesome. Blue, what about your shout-outs?
Really just man, I don't
Someone else didn't come prepared.
No, I'm trying to figure out how to not transition into a rant.
How about you do a very simple closeout, and then we can rant after recording.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that needs to be said though, because
Okay.
there's still like a lot going on Twitter as far as like the whole gender thing.
Hmm.
You know, the sexual harassment. There was a big post earlier, I think this week actually.
Yeah, it was
that
yesterday.
It's really it's kind of it's absolutely unacceptable. Don't it's
that
just
one.
yeah, that one. That's really basically a woman or a girl, a woman, LFG'd, jumped into a chat with the LFG group, and there were some horrible things that were said offhandedly and then directed towards her once they found out that she was a female. We're better than that. And I think that needs to be stated as a reminder that, you know, you're better, be better, show people that you are better than that. That's really not acceptable for anybody to say to anyone. And that's kind of what I had kind of retweeted that and kind of said that as well. I'm not going to attack the people who said it, other than to say that's not the Destiny community that I know. I was actually really ashamed of the Destiny community because of that instance. I was very pleased to see the response that not just the community, but also Bungie actually weighed in on as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, I'm not, it's a very stereotyping comment, but as a community, I think it needs to be pushed. I think there needs to be a positive pushback to that. And I think that, you know, again, be better, be the guardians that you can be and that you should be. Also, another kind of big thing that I didn't know about until earlier this week, and Green actually was part of my realization of this horrible thing that's going on. If you don't know about what's going on with the Amazon rainforest, I really encourage you to look it up. There's some really bad stuff going on in the world, and that's one of them. The rainforest is on fire, and it's been on fire for like nearly 3 weeks now. And it's like, it's out of control. Like, and it's a big deal. I don't really care if you're environmentalist or non-environmentalist, climate change, whatever. I don't care. The rainforest is burning down, and it's a big deal. That's like 20 to 25% of our air comes from that.
Yeah.
If that's
rainforest
gone,
is considered the lungs of the earth.
yeah, if that's gone, we're boned as a species. Like it's a very big deal. So I would really encourage you. I'm not gonna plug any specific organization, but I really, really would encourage you to take a couple minutes and look into it. And if you have the capability to help out wherever you can, please just do. Again, there's some things that are more important than video games, and I try really hard not to bring the politics and stuff and all that in, but I think those two things, I can't just sit here and quietly not say anything, especially when we have a platform like this. It needs to be stated.
That's something else that you can do. If you cannot financially help or donate or reach out or send whatever these different organizations can do, you can do something. You have a voice. You can spread the word, because the biggest thing that has been going on is that our own media has kind of been on the back burner with this. And granted, there have been fires before in the Amazon. It's not like it is a huge pressing story in their mind, because it's something that's happened a couple different times. This one in particular, it's 3 weeks going. Over 3,000 different indigenous people live in that area, as well as so many different things going on in that area. So you can reach out and you can let other people know what's going on, just like we're letting you guys know. And that will at least continue the conversation, because what's being done right now, as far as politics wise go, with the media and not getting any coverage on it, that is one of the biggest shames going on.
Yeah.
So you can definitely reach out and let others know.
Yeah. And like, it actually really, it really disturbed me when I found out, because I had no idea. And I literally found out this week. So that tells you, and I think I'm pretty decently connected to things, and so that just blew my mind. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff going on in the world, and I don't mean to detract from that, but that's a big deal, guys. Like, it really is. So again, really, please, if nothing else, look into it. Try to make other people aware of it. It's something important. But yeah, so on that sobering note, I apologize for it was all laughing and all that, and that's why I try not to bring it in, is because I recognize it's a game. It's a escape from reality. But yeah, dinos and chat. Yeah, that's kind of what my opinion of was. Well, yeah. So, anyways, on that note, I as always.
Say
yes.
Goodbye, Blue.
No, hang on. What am I supposed to do with safe gamers and dames?
Oh, just like you were talking about.
Oh, reminder. Thing. Okay, yes. Sorry. Thank you for that, Grin.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to my first thing, if you do encounter that, first off, let me apologize on behalf of the community that doesn't apparently have the balls to apologize for doing that to you, because that is unacceptable and it should never happen. Second off, you deserve better. And you have the opportunity to find people who will treat you better and will treat you with the respect that you deserve. We have friends in two giant groups called the Dames of Destiny and Safe Gamers. There's a number of groups. I think there's also, I'm going to misspeak it, but I believe it's the Ladies of Destiny. Yes. There's a number of outstanding, I cannot emphasize, outstanding groups. Safe Gamers is the one that we do a lot of interaction with, because they are also really good with younger Guardians, younger players. Mm-hmm. They've transited beyond Destiny. But if you feel like you need a place to find people who you can trust to play with, please do not hesitate to reach out to myself, to Green, whether it's on Discord, whether it's on our email, whether it's on Twitter. I don't care. I mean, I'm almost tempted to give my number out, but I'm not going to, because I think this is very important.
Don't pull a ninja. Don't pull a ninja. Just saying.
No. I mean, I'm just saying, the communication needs to happen, and yes. I am more than happy to give you information on how to get a hold of people who are their entire basis of their existence of clans is around making sure this doesn't happen. They vet people rigorously before they let them join, to make sure that no one does this. All their mods, all their admins, all their everybody.
Sherpas are very trusted.
Sherpas are they're freaking amazing at what they do, and their first thing is to make sure that everyone feels welcome and safe. So there are places that are very active, very safe if you need a place like that. So you don't have to trust LFGs or, I think, 100IO or anything like that. But yes, and as Green so kindly said, I need to say goodbye. So goodbye, Blue. With that, we'll begin to wrap the chat up. Thank you again to those over on Twitch for coming to spend your evening with us. If you'd like to join us for the live streaming of the episodes, please be sure to give us a follow over on twitch.tv/focusedfirechat. Links to all our episode archives can also be found at www.focusedfirechat.com. Please be sure to email us at focusedfirechat@gmail.com with any comments or questions for our team concerning the podcast, and let us know how we're doing by giving us some feedback and a rating over on iTunes as well. Also, be sure to check out all the amazing work being featured over on thelorenetwork.com. So until next time, focus your fire, and may your light shine bright.